Hey, Mark from Sound Matters here. Hope you're all well. Today's video is just going to be a little bit of fun. So it's the weekend here. In fact, it's a long weekend here in the UK, and I'm just going to go record shopping. So I'm going to share that experience with you. We're going to go on Discogs. I'm going to pick out a few treats, hopefully get some good prices. I'm going to share, why I'm buying them and go through that process and, sort of how I'm just going to explore on Discogs and see what happens. It's all just going to be a little bit of fun. And then after this video, I'm going to invite you to share what you're purchasing. Why are you buying it? Have you saved up for something for some time? Did you find a really good deal recently? What was your experience on Discogs like? How do you use the platform? Let's just share that process, as part of the Sound Matters community. So let's get right to it. Let's get record shopping. All right, so here we are. I've got Discogs open and we're going to go record shopping. So first things first, I've got a few things in mind. I'm going to go have a look for a record that I want to replace and perhaps look for something new as well. But let's just see how this goes. And first of all, when I'm logging into Discogs, I'm going to go and have a look and check my wish list. So there's one thing in particular here I've got in mind, and I'm still hunting down. The great thing about creating a wish list, and I recommend you create one, is that you essentially create a list. Yeah, I mean it does what it says on the tin. You are creating a list of records that you're looking for, maybe particular versions of that record. So it could be a first pressing, and you can set this list up so it just makes it easier for you to keep checking and seeing if there's availability, if there's something that's come on for a really good price. And you can also set up email alerts so that you are made aware of it as and when it kind of comes on the marketplace as well. So it's a really great tool for those who are collectors and just, if you're just searching for a particular thing. So I'm going to look at, for the purpose of today, I'm going to look at in particular Unicorn, and here by Tyrannosaurus Rex, later was obviously called T-Rex, Mark Bolan's band, right? So those of you who've followed Sound Matters for a while, it may come across to you like I'm kind of somewhat obsessed with this record and with T-Rex, and in part you would be right. So essentially my parents were really into T-Rex growing up, and I grew up on their music, and so I have a big affinity for it. And particularly between me and my dad's got a number of original pressings of the early Tyrannosaurus Rex stuff. So that's the stuff before they went fully electric. It's the early T-Rex stuff, and the Regal Zonophone label is the original real deal. So there's one in particular, Unicorn. The reason I'm always hunting for it is that it's the only one that between my dad and I that we don't have a Regal Zonophone copy of. So in the past I've almost got lucky. I went record shopping. I was up north somewhere and stumbled across a record store when we were on our way home and came across this, which is the right sleeve. It's on the Regal Zonophone label. However, and I've done there's an article about this over at the website if you head to yoursoundmatters.com, but you pull out the record and it's not the right one. So clearly it's been swapped at some point. It was a damaged record, or they lost it, or it got swapped. Who knows, right? This is part of the perils of buying used records. So I was disappointed, to say the least, and the only reason I ended up not noticing that is because I was in a hurry, essentially. So I just grabbed it and took a chance, which I'd never recommend you do when you're shopping. When you're shopping for used records, you should take a look. But I also have another copy of it, and this is actually a record store day pressing that was released last year, 2020 Record Drops, and this one is on yellow vinyl. So I just bought that as a bit of a collector's piece. So. But anyway, I would love to have a Regal Zonophone copy. Let's see what's on there. I've got a bit of money saved, but within reason, I'm willing to pay for it. They tend to go in good condition, they tend to go for a reasonable amount. So 3 different versions from 1969 here on the Regal Zonophone label. The two I'm most interested in, the two earliest ones, are either the mono one, which I suspect will be the most expensive, and then there's the stereo version here. So let's take a look, and I've just realised there's another version of it here. There are several different versions of this record from 1969. Any of them I'd be kind of very pleased to own, to be perfectly honest with you. As I said, but I am particularly interested in the mono one. So let's have a look here, because I think that's going to be the most valuable. So let's take a look at this mono version first. I'm going to open this up, and we can see that there are 2 for sale here, starting at $69.24. It's quite steep already. Looking at the condition here, very good. I'm a little wary of anything that's not very good plus, as it's likely to not be in the best condition, although they say it is. But generally, if you look at grading scales, and you can take a look on our website for how to shop for used records, I've got a whole sort of piece and a few articles over at yoursoundmatters.com on how to do that. But for the time being, what I will say to you is that anything that's not very good plus can be a little bit risky. But bear in mind this is from 1969, and finding a very good plus or near mint or anything like that is likely to fetch a much higher price. So, Flashback Records in London, actually, that's a good record store. I've been there a few times. So, anyway, this one's in better condition. Actually has the original sleeve as well in reasonable condition here, but that's £106. I'm not quite sure I'm willing to stretch to that much. If we look here, we can get a kind of this sales history, which is interesting, and it's good to see if you're kind of getting a good deal or not. See, the highest it sold for is 125, and the median, the average, is £65. So we're about right in terms of how that's being priced, I would say, based on the age of the record. So it makes £106 for very good kind of look reasonable, and if it was in better condition, then that would likely yield more. So interesting. Anyway, let's go have a look at the other versions, because £106 is quite steep, as much as I like Flashback Records. All right, so let's have a look at the one with the red label, which is the label I know the most from Regal, the one that all my other copies of T-Rex records are. So let's have a look at this one, see what the price is. It'd be great to have a copy of this one. This is stereo this time. This is the stereo release. Right, so some of these are in Europe, which I'm going to look mostly at the UK ones. What do we got? We got good, 20 quid, good price, but not good condition. What do we got? Another good plus, 25 quid. Very good. All right, that's interesting to me. Postage discount for multiple item. So minor warp on the record doesn't affect playback. Even with the track weight set, light background noise, nothing excessive. Okay, so all right, there's somewhere there. Let's just keep going and see what there is. I may skip through some of this if it starts to go on a little while, because nobody wants to sit there and watch me browse forever. So what do we got? Very good plus for the sleeve. That's interesting, but no description of how it sounds, which makes me a little wary, particularly at 60 quid. So very good and very good plus. Now this is interesting. Numerous light scuff marks, but plays superb throughout with little stroke no surface noise. Now that sounds reasonable. Okay, I'm going to earmark that. Very good, 70 quid. No, not for me. Very good plus. Alright, okay. £75. I always like it when they give a description, like it just makes you feel a bit more confident that somebody's actually taken the time to assess the record. So, okay, all right. I've saved a little bit of money, so I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to add this to my cart. So, right, so the second record we're going to look at is a copy of Neil Young's Harvest. So I've got a copy of this already, but I want to replace it. It's in terrible condition. The sleeve is pretty awful. It's got some old sticker marks that have been ripped off here, and quite a lot of stainage on the cover. Although it is a difficult one because it's not, it's not a gloss cover. It's a matte finish on there, and they always have more aging on them, unfortunately. So, but also it's not just the cover; it's the record itself is pretty damn awful. So it sounds like it's under a pillow, basically. So I'm going to replace it. Because I've cleaned this as many times as I'm willing to try. I've even tried Groove Washer's new Stronger formula, their new G3 formula on it, and that's not doing it either. I've tried it on record cleaning machines. I've done cleaning it, so I'm just going to go get another copy of it. So let's have a look for Neil Young Harvest. And just bear with me whilst I kind of find a reasonable version of it. We only really want to be looking for vinyl copies of it, so I'm going to filter that by vinyl, and we really kind of want to filter by UK pressings as well, because, well, I'm based in the UK, so we're going to take a look there as well. Right, so I found this UK pressing of it from 1972, and I'm just going to go and take a quick look what we've got on sale here. So there's 6 for sale, and this is clearly a much more affordable record, not quite as collectible as those Regal Zonophone copies of Unicorn. So yeah, this is going to be I'm already feeling this is going to be a slightly more affordable endeavour. So already straight off the bat, this one looks pretty good. 20 quid, very good plus, excellent copy. Like discussed, with soft textured brown fold, handwritten lyric sheet insert, yeah, tiny initial written on the B side label. Okay, that's not a big deal, right? Shipping is reasonable as well, £20. That's already looking pretty damn good. There's a few copies in Europe here of this. And we got, oh, this is interesting, near mint, okay. Perfect record, hardly played ever. Interesting. Cover has some scuff wear on the edges. Booklet, okay, yeah. Now in protective sleeve to prevent any further edge wear. Okay, yeah, great. $34.98 though. Do I really want to pay $34.98 for a copy of this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm that bothered. Let me just have a little think about that. And there's a very good plus here for £40 with no description, which I'm not going to go for because yeah, there's not enough information there. So I think it's between this one and the other one. So £20 for very good plus. That's a very good deal. I think, you know, given this record, I'm not a particularly, you know, an avid collector of Neil Young's catalogue. I like Neil Young, but I'm not, you know, I'm not an avid collector. So I think this is good enough for me. I'm gonna settle on this one. So, you know, as tempting as it is to get something that's described as near mint here, but it's just a little bit of a stretch more than I want to pay for that particular record. So I'm settling on this. I'm happy with that. Right, let's add that to cart. Next on the list, let's have a look for. I'm just looking for a copy of Brian Eno, Apollo. And again, let's filter vinyl. See what there is in the UK. This is more of it's a totally different change in vibe. Of course, it's an Atmospheres record, so I really like this. It's great for when you're working, kind of in the background. All right, so I found a UK copy of it from 1973 here. And I'm just going to go in again, take a look. Right, slightly more expensive, this one, a bit more collectible, a bit more rare. I did come across this in a record store one day and I didn't buy it, and I'll always kick myself for it because it was not a bad price, but I just did not have much money at the time, which, you know, is a bit of a plight of record collecting, unfortunately. Another one that I've come across, I'll get to it later, but is a copy of the Buckingham Nicks album, which has never really been released on CD or re-released, so I'd love to get my hands on that. I did see that in a record store again, but it was just a little bit too pricey for me at the time. Anyway, this is all looking a little bit expensive considering how much I would like to pay for this record, and this is always a bit of a balance, isn't it? You know, let's have a look what the median and everything is for this. So the average is about £40, highest being 60, so there's some pretty high pricing going on here. Very good plus, 40 quid. Nice copy with some light scratches. The vinyl does not affect play. Sleeve shows typical signs of wear on the edge, otherwise in great condition. Okay, that's not bad. £40, and it sort of meets that median level, so we could look at that. Right, selling collection. Okay, very good plus. Okay, so I think for this one we're going to settle on this, so I'm going to add this to my cart as well. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed the process. That's quite enough of browsing through records for me for today, but I just wanted to share that process with you. Hope you found it useful in some way, and I'd like you to share your experience with me as well. So, you know, do you shop on Discogs? How do you find it? Have you had good luck? Have you had bad luck? You had good experiences, bad experiences? Do you have any tips? Do you have any tricks you can share with the audience? Leave a comment down below, let us know, And have you found any holy grails recently? What have you been buying? Let us know in the comments below. What are you hunting for? What's that gem that you'd love to get your hands on? Did you get a great deal recently? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear from you. So this is about sharing. This is about the vinyl community, and yeah, taking part. So we hope you enjoyed this content. If you enjoyed the video and you'd like to see more about vinyl record collecting and getting the best out of your hobby, then consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.